Welcome, beloved empowered healer, to another sacred episode of the Empowered Healer podcast. I'm Songbird Grandmother, and today we enter into one of the deepest mysteries on the path of initiation, the shedding of the ego, the shamanic death, and the sacred gates that must be passed to enter the spirit world. This is the ancient initiation every healer must face, a death not of the body, but of the illusions, masks, and false identities that keep us bound. And today, I will also share with you how to discern between a true spiritual experience and the illusions of the trickster, so that you may walk this path with clarity, power, and integrity. So take a nice deep breath in and out, and allow yourself to arrive fully into this sacred space. So welcome back, everyone. And for this sacred transmission, I'm gonna actually go ahead and anoint a candle here. And I have some special oil that I make for protection. And this one is actually for blessings, for sweetness, and to help us to go deeper on our journey. So while you listen in, take a nice deep breath in and out and connect to the sacred flame of this sacred candle. Today, we're going to go deep into a very powerful topic. It's something that every healer must face. It's not an easy topic, and it's something that every initiation requires to enter into a new time and space. The shamanic death. So I would say right here, right now, humanity, we are going through a huge shamanic death, both on an individual level, but a collective level as well. And this year of the Lunar New Year, we are in the year of the snake, the wood snake, which is unraveling huge parts of our society, of the way we think, feel, and our ego. So on a personal level, when you are stepping into the path, specifically if you're a shaman, you are going to go through an enormous death. And you will go through these deaths over and over and over again. Typically, every 7 years, you will go through a big shedding. And every 13 years, you will complete that shedding and you will be a renewed person from the inside out. And this is an internal process, not an outside process. We always want to go to the outside first, but on a shamanic path, you never can go outside in, you go inside out, just like the snake. This is the moment when everything you once clung to, titles, roles, identities, possessions, is completely stripped away. It is the collapse of your old self, so that the true healer, the eternal soul, can emerge. This is very uncomfortable. This is not something that feels good. I often see these, social media clips or kind of comedic videos on this process. But when you are in the throes of a shamanic death, it is as if the entire floor beneath you has been taken and you are floating. And the only thing you can know is that you are being held by the spirit world But oftentimes when you go through a shamanic death, your gift changes because now we're taking ego out of the equation and we're putting true spiritual power, and you have to go through the void, the mystery. And if you look in my library, I've recently been talking a lot about the void and the mystery in order to prepare you for this transmission, for this teaching, because you have to be able to go through the void to understand what is a shamanic death. It feels like loss. It feels like emptiness. It's despair. It feels like death. And people usually go into very dark thoughts during this time. It is an initiation into power. And you have to go through this very uncomfortable place because everything you have been running from is now here. You cannot hide from that. You cannot, escape out of death. And some of you may have health scares. You may have relationships ending. You may have incredible rejection, abandonment, loss on every level. You may have fights with parents. You may have tragic things happen. Shamanic death is not pleasant. It is not small. It is not for the weak. And it is incredibly uncomfortable. And this is why most people don't become shamans. It's a calling, but it's also an initiation into can you receive the calling? And that's why many are chosen, but few actually walk the path. Many are called, but few walk. Many are called, but few walk. And they say like many are called and few are chosen. I feel like it's more like many are called, but few actually rise up into it. Few actually step into it. Because if you're called, you're chosen. But you don't necessarily walk. You don't necessarily commit. In fact, most people don't. I have walked many, many, many people through the calling, and very few make it. Very few. Very few. I have some early students from decades ago that are still walking this path, but I have many more that are not. Many, many, many more. And it's a sad reality because as a teacher, it's pretty discouraging because so many gifted people come my way and they are being called. But it starts, once you meet me and you say, yes, I want to go this path, it starts. And you will have incredible experiences, but you will also have to go through your shadow. And a teacher can guide you, but they cannot walk your path. We have all walked this path. And even in the ancient days, people would go into these caves and they would go into initiations and they would have to face every fear and they would go into complete and total darkness for years. And very few people ever made it out. Most people went into the cave, ran from the cave, were never seen again. Some even died in the cave. But when they emerged out of the cave, they were a 100% different person. That is what the shamanic death is. You go in as one person and you come out a totally different person, renewed. And, we have ceremonies like the beauty way ceremony that does that. We have different initiation ceremonies, but in the modern day, this usually takes years. You won't be in a despair space for years, but you will go through the transformation for years. Usually, like I said, 7 years and 13 years. So by 13, you're completely renewed. And that doesn't mean you're going to be sitting in a dark cave for 7 or 13 years. It just means that you're going to be changing. But once you go through the shamanic death, it is the beginning of the entire process. Because without this death, you remain bound to illusions and you don't understand the truth of who you are. You're going to continue to live in the world of delusion. And you won't know what is spirit and what is ego. But once you pass through the shamanic death, you awaken to the vastness of the spirit world and you come out transformed. So as one dies to the ego, there are gates that must be passed, thresholds that test and prepare the soul. The first gate we're going to talk about is the gate of fear. And this is where you face your shadows, doubts, mortality. Tricksters live here, amplifying fear to keep you small. But true spirit often is like a thread of light. It's a calm light that guides you forward. So through the fear, which is going to be loud, it's going to be loud. Fear is never soft, especially nowadays when you go onto social media and they've got this like horror music going and these like dramatic hooks and the entire world is dying and you're going to be broke and unhappy forever. And it's playing this like music and it's trying to fear you into buying something usually. So in your head, that's what fear is. It's this big, scary, loud voice. If I do spiritual training, I will be broke and I won't be this and that. And it's this loud voice. I can't quit my job because then I'll never be employed again. And it keeps you in misery. But underneath that voice is going to be like this very sweet voice, this very calm voice, this very calm feeling that it's going to be okay. You can do this. I will support you. You are supported. That's what we call intuition. We call love. We call spirit. It's a thread, calm, light that guides you forward. And when you listen to that, that's the initiation. That's the gate. Is can you listen to fear or can you listen to love? Which one are you going to choose? Because you're going to hear both. And that's part of the initiation is that you're hearing both. But which one will you choose? The gate of fear or the gate of love? The second is the gate of surrender. This is where the ego wants control. It wants to know for certain where we're going. It wants to have the controlled visions, the controlled certainty, the controlled path. Trickster energy feeds the desire for power. But true spirit asks only that you let go. And in that surrender, you find strength, you find peace, you find dignity, you find calmness. So when you're at the gate of surrender, after you've passed fear and you've chosen love, if you come into surrender, you're going to have to battle control. And what that can look like is, well, if I quit my job I need another job. I need to know exactly what I'm going to do. I need to know that I'm going to be okay. So you'll just jump from one burning ship to the next. And then that can become a pattern. And you never truly surrender because your intuition may be saying, okay, we're going to let go of this job and we're going to float. You have some savings, you have some unemployment coming in, you have severance, you have something, you have a husband, a wife, or something. And we're just going to float for just a little while. We're going to trust. Now, of course, if your whole entire house is on fire and there's no way you can quit, then you have to have that exit plan. If you have children to support, or, everybody's in a different boat. But if you followed your intuition and your intuition said, I need a little break. I need to get a massage. I need to go out into nature. I need to do certain things so that I can get clear. I can create new currency, new energy. And so when you're at the gate of surrender, it's about listening to what that voice, that small whisper of love is speaking, and not feeding the trickster's need for power and control. And discerning which is right for you, because it's not right and wrong for everybody. There's no universal right and wrong. It's only what's right and wrong for you. And only you can know that through the gate of surrender. It's surrendering to your intuition, surrendering to the spirit world. The third gate is the gate of silence. In this void, tricksters distract with noise, chaos, endless fantasies. But spirit speaks in stillness, where clarity is born. So when you're going through these gates, the most important thing to do is sit in the void, to sit in the silence. Can you sit in the silence? Are you constantly fidgeting? Do you always have to be doing something? Are you always thinking and worrying and figuring and calculating and driving yourself nuts? Are you able to just sit in silence? And when you do sit in silence, can you blank out? Can you tune out those loud trickster voices, the distractions, the noises, the chaos, the dreaming, the what am I going to do after meditation instead of being in meditation? The next gate is the gate of ancestral power. This is where you meet ancestors and guides. Now, this is a tricky gate because there are also tricksters that disguise themselves. And this is where discernment comes in. And that's why you have to go through the gate of fear, gate of surrender, gate of silence to finally get to gate of ancestral power. Because once you understand those those little nudges, when you understand what is really your spirit and your ancestors versus what is the tricksters, because tricksters will drain your energy field, they will manipulate, and they will be demanding. That's why I always say, never follow the loud, annoying voice. Never follow the one that's saying, hey, if you just lie, cheat, and steal here, you will get more famous, you'll get more followers, you'll get more money, you'll, get out that competition, you'll be the one shining, and then it's draining, and it usually backfires on you, because true ancestors, they will arrive with love, protection, and empowerment. The benevolent ancestors will lead you to your highest destination. And it will feel different. It will feel empowering. It won't feel draining or manipulative or false. When you get really good at understanding what is true spirit and what is trickster, you know the flavor. and you won't follow that flavor. However, the problem is we want that flavor. A lot of times I'll be working with students and I'll say, that's a trickster energy. That's a rotten ancestor even, or that's a hungry ghost. And they'll say, but yeah, but I like it. I like the feeling of it. I like what it offers me. I like that it's gonna give me more money, more power, more this, more that. And it never does. But there's an illusion because they haven't fully understood the gate of fear, the gate of surrender, gate of silence. And so you can't have ancestral power until you understand those concepts, until you master them. And this is what the initiation process is people want to get to the gate of ancestral power without going through the other gates. And there's no shortcuts to this part. Because sure, you can work with trickster spirits and they'll give you what you want, but they won't give you true power. It will be false egoic power. Your ego will feel big and inflated and like it could do anything. Witchcraft will make you feel that way. People who practice a lot of witchcraft and get really good at it and sorcery, they feel like they could do anything. It provides a false sense of power. And that's why you have to balance things because you can get very inflated. And then what happens with tricksters is it's more, more, more. There's always a price to it, but you have to have more, more, more. Those tricksters want more. And the bigger and higher you get, the more they demand and want. And you can see that when people work with a lot of that trickster energy, they're always wanting more, 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 more. Those spirits are thirsty. It's never enough. It's a hungry ghost. It's something that craves, wants, destroys. It doesn't care what it does to other people because it's just an endless pit of wanting and needing. But when you're working with true ancestral power, you feel fulfilled, you feel happy, you feel at peace, you feel calm. You know that your way is paved. And when you exit out of this plane, you have a ticket out. You're not stuck in a karmic wheel of suffering. And the next gate is the gate of rebirth. This is where you feel a new you coming. And usually on the path, this is when we would do a naming ceremony. This is where we would possibly do a full-on initiation. We would mark this transition because now you're in the new. You're ready to launch yourself as a healer. And the tricksters, they will inflate the ego. They will whisper that you are chosen above all others. But the spirit of rebirth humbles you, it grounds you, and fills you with life-giving medicine to serve others. And this is the path of healer. This is the path. And at any given time, you can quit. And most people quit before the gate of ancestral power. Most people. That's where they get stuck. If it's not with fear and surrender, it might make it all the way through silence, but it's at the ancestral power gate where most people, they have a problem. They have a hard time. That's any one of those gates. But when you make it through all of those gates and you make it into the gate of rebirth and you humble yourself and you want to serve others, then your path begins to soar. And that's why it's very hard for people on this path because There's so many obstacles that will come at any given time that you'll have to overcome. And sometimes as a teacher, what I've noticed is the person I think has the strongest gift is not the one who makes it through. Oftentimes, it has nothing to do with the actual gift, because that can be strengthened through training, that can be strengthened through time and, and through practice. It's the heart. You have to have the heart of a healer. And that is only known by the spirit world. So for me, I'm just the messenger. I'm the conduit. I'm the one who mediates in between. And I just have to listen and follow. So I can't judge who's going to make it through those gates because I ultimately don't know. I can only listen and follow. And the spirit world is actually leading the way because it's the heart of the person that is being strengthened, fortified, and revealed. And when the heart is opened and cleared, and they're able to go through these gates, then the strength and character of that person emerges. And the desire to serve is ultimately what it is. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with how powerful you are. It has nothing to do with who you think you are or what others think you are. It's the heart, because your heart is the one that's going to carry you through the good, the bad, the right, the wrong. It's not your ability. It's not your gift. It's not how psychic you are or none of that stuff, because you can be incredibly psychic and incredibly, arrogant. Those, in fact, some of the most psychic people I've ever met, if you really meet them in real life, they're not nice. They're not the people you want to really hang out with. So there's a big difference between a psychic and a healer, because not all psychics are healers and not all healers are psychic either. Some healers are just gifted with empathy, compassion, kindness, and they have this ability to heal simply by looking at them, simply by talking to them, simply by hearing their voice, just simply even just listening. Sometimes healers don't even say one word and you're healed. So it's a different path and it's a different gift. As shamans, we generally have psychic abilities, we have mediumship abilities, and healing abilities. But ultimately, it's your heart that determines the path forward. So, one other thing I'd like to talk about today is, how do you know the difference between a true encounter with spirit and a false illusion of the trickster? This is something people ask me about every day, all day. I get tons of DMs on this question. And when you're asking this question, it means that you haven't really had a powerful enough encounter with spirit to know what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it means that you have to keep going. You have to keep on your practice. Because once you have a true spiritual experience, you will know the difference. Because a true spiritual experience leaves you humbled, grounded, and filled with peace. It is pure love. It invites you into responsibility, service, and the truth of who you are. And it lingers in a timeless way that makes you strong. It strengthens your soul. It doesn't speak to the ego, it speaks to the heart. A false trickster will inflate your ego. It drains your ego. It leaves you confused, addicted, chasing visions. It's like I said, it's never enough. It's like having a very good, satisfying meal versus trashy processed junk food. It's the same. It's the way that it makes you feel, because a trickster will make you feel like them French fries. And a true spiritual experience will feel like the whole meal. It'll feel like, the protein. It'll feel like the vegetables. It will feel like satisfying. You won't have to want more, more, more. It's not empty calories. It's fulfilling. It's the whole foods versus the junk food. The true spiritual experience stays with you for your whole entire life. A false trickster is the new shiny car. It's the new dress that you wanted, the diamond earrings, the latest bag. It separates you from others through superiority or fear. Tricksters either empower or disempower you. Spirit always empowers you, but tricksters will either make you feel good or bad. And it's a siphoning of your energy. It's a way that they get food, because you have to think these are hungry ghosts. These are spirits that are not in a good space. And that's what you have to remember, is that if you're working with a trickster spirit, it's a spirit that's not in a good space. It's not the good person. Like when you're hanging out with somebody, it's that naughty friend, the one that always leads you the wrong way. Or you will know, especially if people have a lot of trickster spirits on them. One thing that will happen when you're hanging out with somebody who has a lot of trickster spirits on them, you usually have good luck, right? Because you're a healer. The healers have good luck, actually. And you'll go to a place that you usually go to, and you're treated really good. Usually you're treated really good. But you went with this particular trickster friend, and suddenly that person got all your good luck. And then you were like left feeling bad. Usually when you go in, you get the best service, you get the best treatment. But that day, somebody spilled coffee on you, you were treated horribly, you met the rude man, somebody, knocked the door in front of you. You know what I'm talking about. And that person that you're with who has all the trickster energy, well, they were treated great. They were getting all your good luck, because that's what a trickster does. A trickster siphons your energy. But at the same time, that person was making you feel good, or giving you compliments, or saying it's defending you, probably. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened to you. What in the heck? You have to watch out for things like that when you're hanging out with people, and you notice yourself when you're alone, you're in a good space. And then when suddenly you're with this person, bad things start happening, you lose things. Maybe you lost a jewelry piece, or your keys, or something that out of the ordinary happens. Money. I had a woman one time, she gave somebody $100 as for gas money to drive her somewhere, and the woman immediately lost that $100. Now, the funny thing is that the woman who gave the $100 is on a very fixed income, and so $100 was a lot of money for her to give somebody, especially for gas money. And the lady who took the money is very rich. She definitely doesn't need $100. $100 is nothing for her, but she immediately lost it, and then she blamed the woman who gave her the $100, that she lost the $100. She said, well, you shouldn't have given it to me in the envelope. You should have just given it to me. I didn't even know there was $100 in there. You look for stuff like that. That's a trickster. And so anytime something feels off, it's off. That's what you have to remember, is that a trickster will make you feel off. A real spiritual experience makes you feel empowered. It stays with you. Again, love versus fear. Remember this: spirit does not enslave. Spirit liberates. It takes all the binds out so that you can breathe again. So when you pass through the gates in truth, you are no longer who you once were. You return to you and your medicine. You return to wisdom. You return to glory. You return to service for the healing of your people, your ancestors, and the earth. And this is the true path of the empowered healer, walking with humility, integrity, and sacred responsibility. As we close this episode, I invite you to reflect: where are you in the cycle of shamanic death? What gates are you being asked to walk through? And what is Spirit calling you to release so that your true medicine can emerge? If you are feeling called to step deeper into your own initiation to be guided through these sacred gates, you can book your one-on-one session with me on my website. Together, we will walk the path of truth, healing, and empowerment. May you walk protected. May you walk clear. May you walk in the power of spirit, not the illusions of the trickster. Until we meet again, many blessings. Aho.